Donald Trump speaking on Capitol Hill. He just met with senators, had a business roundtable earlier this morning as well. He'll be talking about his legislative plan and his agenda. As you can see here, we're going to listen in to a standing ovation.
He was funny. He was joking around constantly with everyone. He was really sweet to me. He said to Speaker Johnson, he goes, "Okay, you got one more seat. You need to be tougher." He saw me. I was sitting back a little ways. He saw me in there and he was like, "Hello, Marjorie." He's always so sweet and recognizes me.
And you know what Trump meetings are like. He's electric. He's got an incredible fastball. And I think that it was just exciting after all he'd been through, how strong this man is. I've never seen someone be able to take all the heat that he's taken and come in there ready to lead. It took him about 2 minutes. I thought of you when he said this. Drill, baby, drill.
Yes.
Yes.
He said very complimentary things about all of us. We had sustained applause. He said, "I'm doing a very good job." I mean, we're grateful for that.
He cares about customer experience. He cares about what people are experiencing. And then that feeds into his thinking. I mean,
what I would say today about the Senate engagement with President Trump, he was the team captain, and we were glad he was leading us. Everybody in that room is dying for him to get back in office. He wants us to win the Senate so we can put judges on the bench. He talked about him helping us. It was the single best meeting I've ever seen between the United States Republican senators and President Trump.
I'm waiting to bite into my cookie, but I have something to say. These bootlickers, or whatever word shall we use, which is equally as a descriptive, probably more derogative, how do they really see their legacy? Because all they've done is bow down in such an embarrassing way to the one Mr. Felony. It's almost like morals, principles, they all went out the window. These are the same people who are meant to be having your interests at heart. Whereas it appears to me the only thing they have at interest is it, we have an expression in the UK called the gravy train. Clinging to power for all the rewards it brings. This can't be a situation where they really believe that they're going to contribute some level of political impressive legacy. Tim Scott, what?
We need 4 more years of President Donald Trump. We're on our way to get there. The day of reckoning, November the 5th. Can't wait for it.
So, Senator, early voting begins in September, right? Is President Trump encouraging people to go out and vote early now?
He is. You know, one of the things he said yesterday was that in North Carolina, early voting starts in September. So this race is not simply about November the 5th, though that is our day of reckoning. He understands that we must use every single weapon in the arsenal. Early voting, mail-in voting.
It's beyond embarrassing where truth is replaced by garbage, BS. There's no facts. It's like, what sort of extreme lie can we tell, which will then get regurgitated by somebody on Fox or Blue Tick Twitter? That's what's going on. It's what moment can we take out of context? So someone like Don Trump Jr. Retweets it and then it gets picked up and people on social media. I do blame the social media companies to a certain extent because there's an awful lot of attention-seeking people who will put out any old garbage if they think it will get them some clicks and likes. Don Trump Jr. or Dumb Trump Jr. being the best example of that. And the worst thing is, some of the online newspapers are playing the same game. They know it's a lie, they know it's crap, but here's the weird thing. It's always about President Biden. It's always something. Can we smear Biden? Where there's actually an awful lot of truth about Trump, they just ignore it. You know, the guy is a convicted rapist. The guy has 34 felons, convicted criminal, can't travel to certain countries. Yet they're doing this thing where it's momentarily taking something, for example, the President Biden, and then it gets literally echo chambered. Whether they think it feeds into some narrative that they hope within the swing states it will have an effect, I don't know, but I find it very sad. It's not checked. It's a few individuals, I mean, I do a little bit, that are fact-checking what's going on. Your major networks are doing nothing. It's like they're underlining and rubber stamping it. I'll give you an example. I saw something on social media, X, Twitter, whatever it's called. Who calls it X? Where somebody said, European newspapers are turning against Biden. And they took 2 headlines. No, European newspapers aren't turning against Biden. Most European countries have their own problems to deal with.
NBC News and MSNBC political analyst, former U.S. Senator and former prosecutor Claire McCaskill. She and Jim Palmieri are co-hosts of the MSNBC podcast, How to Win 2024. Also senior political columnist for Politico, Jonathan Martin.
J. Mart.
I'm just going to leave that there. And staff writer for The New Yorker, Susan Glasser, as well.
So J. Mart, you have traveled around the country.
You look like it.
You have talked to Republicans. You've talked to elected leaders on both sides of the House. Yes. You know, like I know, because I've talked to them too, all of those people clapping and all of those people hugging Donald Trump and all of those saluting Donald Trump all hate Donald Trump, all say terrible things behind his back. Yeah. And even that guy right there said, if you're a Christian, J.D. Vance, at one point said, if you're a Christian, you cannot vote for this man. And yet, here we are, J. Mart.
They're living a life that they're not terribly thrilled about, but it's the life that they've chosen because their voters like him. Joe, their voters love him, actually, and they live in fear of their voters. And look, that's the issue, right? There's a fundamental difference between the leadership class of the party and the rank and file voters. They're not the same party. And you've got a residue of an earlier party that's still left, especially in the Senate, that does not reflect where the party's voters are. So they have to fake it. And they've been doing that for going on a decade now. Some of them quit or retire or are defeated, but if those who stick around, they make this accommodation and they do it unhappily, but that's the life that they're living. And boy, guys, I have to say, to have Doug Mills, the prize-winning photographer for the New York Times, come into the NRSC yesterday to shoot that session, to record it for history. Trump knows what he's doing. He's getting the best photographer in journalism today to come record all the supplicants in the Senate kiss his ring yesterday because he wants those pictures for history.
Supplicants and, you know, Claire McCaskill, Willie and I talk about it all the time. And we will just say, because we're men, we talk about how we would respond as men if somebody insulted our wives and called them ugly, and if somebody accused our father of being part of the JFK assassination, or if somebody gave out our phone numbers, like Trump gave out Lindsey Graham's phone numbers and insulted Lindsey as much as he did. We could just go down the list. You know, I mean, Mitch McConnell shook hands with a man who has unleashed a torrent of racist comments about his wife. But he did it. I just got to say, I'm just going to say this. I'm an old guy, so I'll just say the way that we would say it in the past. And Willie and I have talked about it now. As a man, you do any of those things, you cross that line, there is no going back. There, you insult my father, my wife. Like, there's no going back. There's no shaking your hand. There's no endorsing you. In fact, I will focus on destroying your political career for the rest of my life. By the way, people who know me know when they have insulted close friends who have passed away, I literally spent the next 20 years going after them because, well,
it's wrong.
You just don't let bullies beat up friends and family members.
Yeah, I watched that video, and my former colleagues were going, power, self-respect, power, self-respect. Okay, I'll go with power. I'm not going to go with self-respect. A couple of things stood out to me about his meetings on the Hill yesterday. One, did you see that awkward moment where Joni Ernst was forced to kiss his cheek? Katie Britt rushed him and, of course, was like, oh, I love you, and hugged him and stuff. And then he walks by Joni Ernst and he sticks his cheek out, and Joni kind of goes over there and has to peck it. And by the way, there's a picture of Josh Hawley. I wish somebody would ask Josh Hawley what he was running from that day on January 6th when the cameras caught him running. And why was he running? If he has written a book on masculinity and how you be a man, I don't know what men run from, but usually it's because they're afraid for their lives. So, and then the other thing think about this for a minute, guys. Donald Trump got in front of members of Congress and wanted to talk about whether Taylor Swift was going to endorse him. I mean, that's just weird. I mean, that is a scrambled brain. First of all, they're under no set of circumstances is Taylor Swift ever gonna endorse Donald Trump, ever. And so him bringing it up is such a self-own that he cares more about Taylor Swift endorsing him than any of those losers that he was requiring to applaud him.
That was...
Do you know one thing? Can't wait for the live debates, just for the simple reason, excuse me, there's a lot of politicians who know journalists are not doing their job. They're just looking for anything for clout to get a like. They're not being really intrinsic into the subject, doing any level of research or investigations, just saying yes, no pushback. And these are people, some of them are on cable news as well. With these live debates, I really shouldn't speak my mouth, I'm so sorry. The cookie's good there. With these live debates, what I'm going to love about it, you will get to see Trump with no PR, President Biden not having clips taken out of context, slowed down, so some of that dumb Trump Jr. can make a dumb, silly point. The real scenario and situation, which is why I still believe Trump won't do the debates. And why won't he do the debates? Because he doesn't want to get found out. It's very rare you see any politician how to account where there's a follow-up question and another follow-up question, and they're said, these are the facts, what you're saying is not true. It's like some game now, let the politicians say anything, it doesn't matter. There is the exception to the rule. This particular plonker coming up faced himself in front of a live mic and a live camera, and it went totally different to how these things normally go.
If abortion was the best choice for your girlfriend, why try to deny that choice to other women?
So let me give you some context about that situation, because I'm a pro-life Catholic, and I believe everyone should choose life. Now, if you listen to my presentation on the House floor, did you listen to it?
I did, in fact. I just quoted from it.
Okay, so what was the major theme, and what did I repeat probably 20 times? Hold on, let me help you.
Oh, I thought you were asking me a question.
No, go ahead.
In fairness, your logic was a bit scattered in that speech. What I'm asking you about is the fact that you said that you respected your girlfriend's right to an abortion and then gave her money to help her through an important time to live her best life.
You did exactly what I did.
But yet you've tried to deny that to other women. And I'm asking, why is an abortion good for your girlfriend, bad for other women? That's my question. Simple question.
Okay. She had an abortion. Was that her choice? Yes. Did she have that right? Yes. Was it my choice, Kyle? No.
Why do you seek to deny the choice that you said was best for your girlfriend's life?
Let me finish explaining.
Why do you seek to deny it to other women?
I don't.
You have voted to restrict abortion access as a legislator.
And I have. And I'm a pro-life person. I think you should try to choose life every time. But there are exceptions. And there are times when you need abortion. Abortion is a medical procedure.
Is one of the exceptions when Richard Holtorf's the father?
No, it is not. It's not about me. Don't personalize it and make it about me. It's not.
You told the story on the House floor.
That doesn't matter.
Sir. Okay.
That doesn't matter. Okay. That's a story.
Okay.
That's not that important. What's more important is the policy.
Let's just talk about unifying the country. Putting forth what Joe Biden did with the Democrats in the Congress, House and Senate. First bill that we had right away. The rescue package, shots in arms, money in pockets, people back to work, children safely in schools. A child tax credit taking half the children in poverty out of poverty. The bipartisan infrastructure bill. We had 13 Republicans, but that's bipartisan in the House, more in the Senate, I think. But the bipartisan bill, creating jobs, the IRA, saving the planet, lowering the cost of prescription drugs, the PACT Act to protect our veterans who may have been exposed to burn pits, the CHIPS and Science Act to make us preeminent in the world and independent for the factors of production that we need to be preeminent in the world. And that isn't any reason to vote for us. We're not saying we deserve it. We're saying we've proven we can get the job done. instead of one bill for the richest people in the country. Joe Biden was president under his presidency, and our infusion of resources into the economy, 15 million jobs. What's his name? The worst job record since Herbert Hoover. The worst job record since Herbert Hoover. Lowest unemployment for like 40 straight months. Low. Inflation coming down. And when people talk about cost of living, that's a legitimate concern. But we're preeminent in the world in taking down inflation. And what we have also done, while I'm concerned about the cost of groceries, as anybody would be for families, but think about how we've reduced the cost of medicine, of health care, reduced the cost of prescription drugs. In our IRA bill, if you're a senior on Medicare and you need insulin, before us it was $500 to $600 a month for seniors. Under Joe Biden and the IRA legislation, it's $35 a month, $500, $600 a month, $35. So when we talk about the cost of living, we have to talk about the cost of health care as part of that. So again, it's about the kitchen table, the cost of living, women's right to choose, which is an economic issue, as well as a democracy issue. So let's just talk about what is at stake for people in the election, because they don't care. They do not care. They care about the 1%. They don't care about your kitchen table.
Inside Donald Trump's prison cell, the surroundings are like any other small, enclosed space. The walls are gray concrete, and a narrow cot with a thin mattress is the only piece of furniture. A tiny metal sink and toilet combo sit in one corner, while a small barred window allows a sliver of natural light to filter in. The sound of clanking bars echoes through the air as guards patrol the hallway outside.
What is...
President Trump is 76 years old. He will die in federal prison.
Trump spends his days pacing the limited floor space. The once powerful man now finds himself in a place of confinement.